card fighters. We are Team Deus. My name is Brandon. And behind the camera we've got Ethan.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And today we are bringing you Amazing Professor Bigbelly. So we'll hop straight into this deck with the starter, the Telescope Rabbit. Some of you may be wondering, why not the Pencil Koala? The Pencil Koala is a little bit slower. His effect is really good though. But this thing allows us to kill our units that we've given certain abilities to that need to be retired early game. Because there's no GB restriction, which means if we come up against Kagero, we can kind of get something out of it before they eventually kill him off. I am still tossing up the Koala, but I really like this card. For those of you who don't know, CB1, rest himself, choose another of your units, give it 4k, at the end of the turn it dies. Great rear guards. Most of this stuff is rear guards, you can't pick the Vanguard, but it's fair enough. On to grade 3s. 4 copies of Amazing Professor Bigbelly. This card is crazy. So it's got success 20k. Success works as, just a little reminder, success works when any one of your rear guards becomes 20,000, all your units with success become successful. Ethan learned that the hard way. So he's got success. So he's got success. He's got a once per turn skill when he's placed or when your G unit strides. The reason it's once per turn is because if you could do it twice, it'd be absolutely insane. You can choose a card from your hand, call it to rear guard, it gets 4k. If you called at the end of the turn, you got to retire it, but you get to draw a card, which is the whole point of this deck. The whole point of this deck is you throw cards out of your hand, and then at the end of the turn, you draw lots. He got another skill, which is a Vanguard or rear guard skill of once per turn, counter blast. At the end of the battle that he attacked, is it a Vanguard? Nope, just attacked. If he's successful, you can pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your other rear guards, stand it, and give it 4k. So it's basically Crayon Tiger without the draw, which makes him stupid good. So yeah, most of the time you'll almost always ride this card. Coming up next, we've got 2 copies of Talented Rhinos. This thing is like Tom, except in this deck it's crazy, because it's like Tom with like 40,000 power. So this thing also has success, and it's got GB1 if it's successful, it gains 4k, and your opponent can't call grade 0s during the battle that he attacks. So, Managarmer, the grade 4, if you drop this on rear guard, this thing isn't, as long as it's successful, which is 20k, they can't go grade 1s or grade 0s, and that's why I play 2 of it. Still a really funny card. And that's it for grade 3s. Because of some of the grade 1s, you will almost never misride. You will almost always have Bigbelly. And because of that, we can get away with playing less and filling up our grade 1 slots. Also, we dig in this deck so hard. Next is Crayon Tiger. This card just got really good. Better than it was thanks to that once per turn rolling. So now, CB1, when he's boosted, you may pay the cost. If you do, oh, he has to attack a Vanguard, I believe, as well.
Yeah, he does.
He does? Yeah. If you pay the cost, you can choose one of your other rear guards, stand it, it gets 4k. At the end of turn, you retire it, and you draw a card. He's just nuts. Another attack, an extra card in hand. There was a reason he was $25 for so long. Next. 4 copies of Artistic Ocelot. This thing is Binoculus Tiger, but it also has a GB skill, which makes it slightly better. So it's got the Bino skill of on Vanguard or rear guard when he declares an attack. You can choose another rear guard, get 4k. At the end of the turn, retire it. So that's not GB locked. So generally on like turn 2, if you can ride into this and you just stack like all your coiling and Mika Saburo skills onto one rear guard and then attack with your Vanguard and then kill that rear guard and get all the skills from it, He's also got the skill of CB1. If you have a Big Belly Vanguard, you can choose one of your other rear guards that gets 4k at the end of turn, draw a card and retire it. So he can give 8k to something, which is very nice. And he gets a card back into the hand, which is always a big plus. Next, 3 Lesser Rider. I see people saying they want to cut this now that Overlord's not a huge threat. I don't know why. This thing's great. So success, 20k. If it's successful, all your units with success get 2k and resist. So you can pop this in the back row, and if you've got Big Belly in the front, no more denial, Griffin. No, there's no reason to cut this. And I think Field Glass Otter, whatever it's called, just kind of hinders you because you kind of have to play around it. Whereas this thing is cool. It also has the skill for a Soul Blast. Once per turn, you can just make it successful. So if you don't have a way to get it to 20k, but you need to protect your success units, you can Soul Blast to make it successful, though you almost never have to. And that's it for grade 2s. On to grade 1s, and there is a lot of them. 4 copies of Deli Belly. This thing is one of the best nulls in the entire game, in my opinion. So for a Soul Blast, which sometimes you don't have, but for a Soul Blast, when he's retired from Rearguard or Guardian Circle, if you have a Vanguard with Big Belly, you may pay that cost if you do draw a card and countercharge. How good is that? That's like a countercharge null, and like most of the draw nulls for a Soul Blast. And it's not name dependent. You don't have to have another one in the drop zone. So that's cool. Obviously, it's a Sentinel with the cannot be hit skill. 4 copies of Mini Belly. The one downside to not playing as many grade 3s is you got to max out your stride fodder. On the positive, because we are playing a Big Belly deck, he can be used to search and correct if you've got Rhinos. But generally, you will just use him to stride. Oh, look at him, he's so cute. 4 copies of Honorary Assistant Mike Saburo. When he's called, you can choose one of your other Great Nature rear guards, and it gets, yep. When this unit is placed in the drop zone during the end phase, you can search your deck for a grade 3, reveal it to your opponent, and shuffle your deck. So this is kind of the thing that guarantees you your Big Belly ride. You can call it. You give something the skill, and then you sack it, and you get to search directly to Big Belly. So that's like the fastest possible way to get it. And then we play 4 copies of Duckbill. This card is just great. It's the same on-play skill as Mike Saburo, but instead of searching for a grade 3 at the end of the turn, you draw. So you can literally call out 2 of these and a Mike Saburo, have a back row, and at the end of turn get 3 cards to replace them. So you don't go minus to call a field, which is great. On to triggers. 4 Automata Koala. This is just the generic Tara clone. When you've got 2 of them after G guarding, you can bind them both, and you can either soul charge or counter charge. 90% of the time, that's for soul charge. 4 Pond Belly. This is our name crit. You know the drill. Slide it into soul when your Vanguard attacks. It gets 5, and you get to draw a card. Really, it's just there to fill the soul. 4 copies of Approval Frigate. This card is the Margle clone as a crit. And then finally, 4 Holder Hedgehog. Just another generic crit. And yep, you heard me right, 12 crits. There's no real need to play stands in the deck. You draw like crazy anyway. Deck out is a genuine risk most of the time. So 12 crit, in my opinion, is the best option. Go aggro as possible. So now onto the G zone. 3 copies of Omniscience Dragon Laurel. He's saved Great Nature, really. He made Great Nature go from kind of this, like, oh, it's kind of cute, honorary professors and stuff, And then he came in and was just like, okay, now all Great Nature decks just need to run 3 of this card, and they can do crazy things. So he's got the skill of Act, Soul Blast 1, and choose anything in your G-Zone and turn it face up. Choose all your units in the front row. Until the end of turn, they get Auto, Vanguard, Rearguard. When this unit attacks, hits a Vanguard, draw a card, and 4,000 power for each face-up card in the G-Zone. At the end of the turn, you retire the Rearguards, but who really cares? This thing is just insane. As a first turn stride, they normally let most of your Rearguards hit, and you just get free cards to your hand. As an ender, if you've got tons of face-up cards, you just get power out the wazoo. It's nuts. 2-mana Garmer, Counterblast, flip himself. If the number of cards in your G-Zone is 2 or more, you can choose 2 Rearguards, they get 4k. And when this unit attacks, if it's 20k or greater until the end of the turn, until the end of the battle, your opponent can't call grade 1s from their hands of the Guardian Circle. So this is just kind of part of that combo with Talented Rhinos, so that your rear guards are basically like, oh no 1s or 0s to stop me here. 1 Fernigus. This is kind of the biggest reset button in the world. This card says, this card gets 4k for each rear guard. Counterblast, Soul Blast. When it's put into the G-Zone from Vanguard, you can pay the cost. If you do it at the end of the turn, choose all of your rear guards, retire them. For each card chosen with this effect, draw a card, counter charge, and soul charge. So if you retire a full field, you draw 5, counter charge 5, soul charge 5. Do keep in mind that if you use this, you are throwing, at full power, you are throwing away 1/5 of your deck. 1 Arfunk. This thing's cool. Counterblast 1, and choose anything in your G-Zone, turn it face up. Choose any number of rear guards until the end of turn they get. This unit can't be retired by card effects. For each of your rear guards chosen with this effect, it gains 4k. So you can pump itself and protect your field. It's really good for like the Kagura matchup. 1 Hrimthus. This is in case things go horribly wrong. I'm not going to read its skill. It's kind of boring. Generally, he's the flip target for Laurel. 1 Climata. No. Kill Timka. Kill Timka. This thing's kind of like Legion. He puts forward cards back when he becomes successful. And then you can choose 1 rear guard, give it 4k, draw a card and retire it at the end of turn. Again, it's another flip target for Laurel. 1 Generation Break 8. This thing's kind of cool. You choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. Choose 5 rear guards, they get 10k, and at the end of the turn, retire this unit. The number of cards in your hand is 1 or less. This unit gains 40k and a crit. Again, most of the time, you flip him. But on the off chance you get to G8, and you're like, I just need a big swing with a crit to win, you've got it. 1 Zoa. As we said in our discussion video, the threat of this thing alone is worth playing it. If your opponent doesn't work out that you have Zoa, you literally just go, okay, I win, because they've got no way to stop it. So this thing's threat is huge, and I've used it once or twice, but generally it's just his threat to make my opponent play differently than they would normally. Spangled is your reset button for your hand. Counterblast 1, flip a G unit when he's placed. If you do choose any grade 3 or less Guardians until the end of turn they get. When this unit's retired from the Guardian Circle, draw a card. So if you've got an unfavorable hand, you can throw it all on the Guardian Circle, G-Guard, and then draw cards equal to the number of cards you threw away. So it's great to kind of cycle your hand out if you're in a bad situation. 2 Ardillo. This is generally the G-Guard you use most. He just says you can retire any number of rear guards you want, and if you have 3 open rear guard circles, he gains 10k. So it's your 25k shield. And generally, if you've killed your front row, at most you have to kill 1 with him, so he's very cool. Mirage for a Soul Blast. when he's placed on the Guardian Circle, you may pay the cost if you do. You can choose 2 cards from your hand, call them to separate rearguard circles, and then choose up to 4 rearguards, and until the end of turn they get rearguard resist and rearguard they can't be hit. So this thing is hilarious against Ghidorah. Because Ghidorah says they can't call units during their turn. This calls it on your turn, on your opponent's turn. So you can literally be like, cool, guard with this, call a field, and the column that you paralyzed is now full. And yeah, that's why it's there. It's for that matchup specifically. It's still a kind of cool card if you need to kind of throw some resources out onto the board quickly. And then I play 1 Sankalpa. Counterblast 1. When he's placed, you choose 1 rearguard, and that unit and your Vanguard get 4k for each of your open circles. Then, if your chosen rearguard's power reaches higher than 20k, you draw a card. The fact that it costs a counterblast and the fact that you basically have to have 3 or 4 open rearguard circles to make it work is the only reason I'm not playing more of it, because that draw is sweet. But yeah, just one of that. So thank you guys so much for watching our Big Belly deck profile, and we will see you all in the next video.